Have you ever felt like your eyes are burning, tired, or gritty and, no matter what you do, it just doesn't fully go away? If yes, you're not alone. Today on Vision Bright Official, we're talking about something millions of people silently suffer from. Dry eye. Dry eye is not just about feeling uncomfortable for a few minutes. It can slowly become a daily struggle. At first, it may feel mild like dryness on a windy day, after screen time, or while driving. Your eyes water, you blink more, and your body tries to fix the problem on its own. Most of the time, that works. But for many people, it doesn't stop there. Dry eye can turn into a long-term condition. Weeks turn into months. Months turn into years. And suddenly, your eyes don't feel normal anymore. Reading becomes difficult. Screens feel painful. Even light starts to bother you. The reason dry eye is so frustrating is because it works in a cycle. Once it starts, it feeds itself. The surface of the eye changes. Tears don't stay where they should. Inflammation builds quietly. If you understand what's really happening on the surface of your eyes, everything starts to make sense. That understanding is the first step toward clarity, and that's exactly what we're breaking down, step by step. To understand dry eye, we need to look at tears in a simple way. There are only two big questions that matter. First, are you making enough tears? Second, are your tears drying too fast? Most people assume dry eye means the eyes don't make enough tears. Surprisingly, that's not always true. In many cases, tears are being made but they don't last. Some people truly do produce fewer tears. This can happen with certain immune conditions where the body attacks its own glands. Aging also plays a role. As we get older, especially with hormonal changes, tear production can drop. Medications matter too. Allergy pills, blood pressure drugs, heart medicines, and even medications for stress or sleep can quietly reduce tear production. The eyes feel dry, but the cause is coming from inside the body. There are also situations where the eye doesn't sense dryness properly. When the nerves don't send the right signals, the brain doesn't respond by making more tears. So now, imagine this. Fewer tears, weaker signals, or blocked tear pathways all happening together. That's when dry eye stops being temporary and starts becoming a real problem. But tear production is only half the story. The other half of evaporation is where dry eye truly accelerates. Even if your eyes make tears, those tears need to stay on the eye. And this is where evaporation becomes the real enemy. Dry air, wind, heaters, air conditioners, all of these pull moisture away from your eyes. Low humidity makes tears disappear faster than your body can replace them. But the biggest issue isn't just the air. It's the tear film itself. Your tears are not just water, they are layered. One of the most important layers is oil. This oil sits on top of your tears and slows evaporation. That oil comes from tiny glands in your eyelids. When those oil glands don't work properly, tears break apart too quickly. This condition is extremely common. In fact, most people with dry eye have some level of oil gland blockage. When oil thickens or stops flowing, the tear film becomes unstable. Tears dry unevenly. Some areas of the eye are left exposed. That exposure irritates the surface and triggers inflammation. Other factors also disturb tear stability buildup on the eyelids, allergies, contact lenses, and nutritional deficiencies. All of these quietly damage the balance your eyes depend on. Once tears become unstable, dryness turns into irritation. Irritation turns into inflammation. And inflammation changes how your eyes function every single day. This is how the dry eye cycle tightens its grip. When tears evaporate too fast, something dangerous happens on the surface of the eye. The liquid disappears, but the salt stays behind. This makes the tears overly salty. That high salt level irritates the eye and sends distress signals deep into the tissue. Your eyes respond, the only way they know how, by triggering inflammation. At first, inflammation feels like redness, burning, or discomfort. But over time, it causes real damage. The surface of the eye depends on special cells that help tears stick evenly. Inflammation damages those cells. As they weaken, tears slide off instead of staying in place. Now the eye is even more exposed. More evaporation happens. More salt builds up. More inflammation follows. This is the vicious cycle of dry eye. As the surface becomes rough, blinking starts to hurt. Some people describe it as scratching or sandpaper with every blink. Vision begins to fluctuate, clear one moment, blurry the next. The eyes may water excessively, not because they're healthy, but because they're desperate. This reflex tearing doesn't solve the problem. It only adds to the confusion. Light sensitivity increases. Eye fatigue sets in, especially in the evening. Tasks that once felt easy, reading, driving, Watching screens become exhausting. Dry eye is no longer mild. It has become structural damage. As dry eye continues unchecked, the surface of the eye starts to show visible injury. Tiny damaged spots appear across the cornea, the clear front window of the eye. These damaged areas make the eye extremely sensitive. Wind, light, and even normal blinking can feel painful. Vision becomes unreliable. Some days feel manageable. Other days feel unbearable. This is why dry eye often comes in waves. You may feel okay for a while, then suddenly experience a flare. Poor sleep, smoke, screen strain, or weather changes can trigger it. Over time, daily life begins to shrink. Makeup becomes uncomfortable. Contact lenses feel impossible. Reading and computer use become limited. Driving at night feels unsafe. Social activities feel draining. What many people don't realize is that dry eye can reduce vision, not temporarily, but measurably. Severe dryness can blur vision enough to interfere with daily independence. In advanced stages, open wounds can form on the eye's surface. These wounds increase the risk of infection and scarring. Once scarring develops, the surface of the eye becomes uneven. Light doesn't focus properly anymore. Vision drops further. This is no longer just discomfort. This is vision loss caused by dryness. And the deeper problem is still unfolding inside the nerves of the eye. The front of your eye contains thousands of tiny nerves. These nerves are the reason even a small grain of dust feels intense. Chronic dry eye slowly damages these nerves. When nerve damage begins, the eye loses its ability to sense dryness correctly. The brain no longer gets the message to produce tears. Healing slows down. Injuries linger. This condition can lead to a dangerous state where the eye stops repairing itself. Ulcers may form without much pain at first because the nerves are no longer working properly. In severe cases, the eye tissue can weaken to the point of breaking down. This is rare, but devastating. On the opposite end, nerve damage can also cause extreme pain. The nerves become overly sensitive. Normal sensations, air movement, blinking, even natural tears trigger burning pain. Some people experience constant discomfort without visible damage. The pain is real, but the surface looks normal. This makes the condition confusing and emotionally exhausting. Living with constant eye pain affects sleep, focus, mood, and mental health. The quality of life drops sharply. Dry eye is not just dryness. When nerves are involved, it becomes a condition that touches every part of daily living. Understanding this helps explain why dry eye must never be ignored. Dry eye does not follow a straight line. It moves up and down. Good days, bad days, quiet periods, sudden flares. But over a long enough time, untreated dry eye usually worsens. The damage builds slowly. Tear quality declines. Inflammation stays active. The surface weakens. Vision fluctuates more often. Some people reach a point where everyday tasks feel overwhelming. Working becomes harder. Enjoyment fades. Confidence drops. This is why dry eye deserves serious attention. It affects more than comfort, it affects independence. Many people struggle silently because dry eye doesn't always look severe from the outside. Others may not understand how deeply it impacts daily life. But dry eye is real. The damage is real. And the consequences are real. The good news is that dry eye is one of the most researched eye conditions today. Awareness is growing. Understanding is improving. When the condition is recognized early, outcomes are far better. When it's ignored, recovery becomes more difficult. The key is understanding the cycle, how tear and stability, evaporation, inflammation, and nerve damage connect. Once that picture becomes clear, dry eye stops being a mystery, and clarity changes everything. Dry eye may start quietly, but it does not stay small. Left untreated, it can affect vision, comfort, mental health, and daily function. But knowledge brings power. When you understand what's happening inside your eyes, fear turns into awareness. Confusion turns into direction. Dry eye is not weakness. It's a condition shaped by environment, biology, and time. At Vision Bright Official, the goal is simple: help you see clearly, not just with your eyes, but with understanding. No matter where someone is on their dry eye journey, education matters. Knowing the signs, knowing the risks, knowing the reality. Dry eye is complex, but it is not hopeless. Awareness leads to action. Action leads to protection, and protection leads to brighter vision ahead. Your eyes work for you every single day. They deserve care, respect, and understanding. And that understanding starts right here.